why is it becoming a common trend for Black Africans to feel like their skin being lighter? It's more interesting.
The rates at which people are bleaching are getting higher and higher by day because society has said what should be beautiful and what is not beautiful,
It boosts your confidence. So that is what most ladies think.
I saw the challenge that you posted. A black Porsche, a white Porsche. Not many people like white cars. Like black looks more sexy, black looks beautiful. So fair skin, black skin is also fair skin.
But when we come to casting these strong black women, we want to cast them for security guard roles. I don't know what ideas we're driving.
You start having different, like Nduko said, there's some places that don't even bleach. I am tempted to think about some other places as well.
Good evening. My name is Likuyani Eli, and this is Art in Heart. Tonight, we dig into tribalism. This is the second episode of our series, which includes the previous one we looked at colorism. And tonight, we're looking at tribalism. And therefore, if you've been following, this is the right place to be. Remember, the hashtag is Art in Heart, responding to life. So it is interesting that as a country, that is Kenya, we continue to fight amongst ourselves on normal divides called tribals, or rather, our tribes. Why is it that after every 5 years, we tend to sink in the same hole? Those are the questions we seek to address tonight, even as we discuss discrimination in matters tribalism. Allow me to introduce you, Nyanduko 254, my co-host in Nairobi, Kenya. Good evening, Nyanduko. How are you?
I'm fine, Ellie. How are you? Good evening and welcome everyone who's here with us. Yeah, tonight, as Ellie has said, we're going to talk about tribalism and the effect that tribalism has on society and how we as people have contributed to tribalism generally as a vice that is there in society because it's actually there. So stay tuned and we hope you have an amazing show.
Unfortunately, Nyanduko, I cannot be able to see you on my end. I don't know what is happening. I will ask Vicky to check into that. Yes, we have Noreen Ambata on board tonight. Good evening, Noreen. How are you?
I'm very much okay. And tonight, it is just an amazing topic that we are going to discuss about. And let us get to know about the history of tribalism. How did it start? What was tribalism meant to do, like in Kenya? Because we are confusing the role of tribalism, what it really meant to be of importance in our country, and directing it to other ways. So I hope you will stay tuned and enjoy the show. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you, Noreen, and welcome. Thank you so much, Noreen. And of course, we have Victoria and Katha in Denmark. Good evening, Victoria. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Ellie. I am very fine. How are you? Now everybody's coming here so calm, and then I'm here busting with energy. I mean, Noreen, Ojakula Leo, haven't you eaten? Please, can you lighten up? But we're expecting a great show, so I'm very, very excited for what this show has to offer and discussing matters that actually do concern us as individuals. And in as much as sometimes we discuss issues that can be relatable to some people while others are not relating to it, tribalism is actually something that we all relate to. So I'm very, very excited to engage with people today and just hear their thoughts on it. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, Victoria, and welcome to the cast once again. And of course, to just put an icing on the cake, I have one TV producer coming to us from Nairobi, Kenya, Rebecca Muiruri. Good evening, Becky. How are you? Becky, you have control of your mic. Unfortunately, we cannot be able to unmute you. If you can do that
Yeah,
for
yeah,
us,
yeah.
thank you.
There you
Go
go.
ahead. How are you,
I'm doing
Rebecca?
well. I'm fine, thanks. I'm
It's
fine.
great to see you. How many
Great to
years?
see you too. I can't even remember, like almost 5 or 6. Should
Well,
be.
that should be the last time I saw you, but the last time I worked with you, it's quite 10, 11 years. Anyway,
That's even
I'm very
funny. So,
happy to see you, and I
yes,
hope
yeah.
you are geared and ready for the show tonight.
I am.
So,
I am here to this show because
thank
it's
you.
yeah, like everyone else said, it's something that really touches home. I mean, we've experienced this, we've seen our neighbors experiencing this, and of course, it's good to talk about it. So I'm really excited to talk about it.
Thank you. So let me just bring things into perspective. We are talking about tribes or tribalism, especially in our context, we are talking about Kenya as a country. And we realize that over the years, tribalism has played major roles when it comes to employment, when it comes to position in terms of government, when it comes to politics for that matter. And tonight we seek to find out why does this thing that makes us so peculiar as a nation also create loggerheads amongst ourselves. Let me take you to Victoria to give the foundation and of course bring in Nyanduko.
Hello, once again. So, as you've heard, we are seeking to understand how something that could make us so special, sorry, can also make us really discriminate against each other. So, what is tribalism? Tribalism is discrimination against one's tribe, and this can we know very well from the fact that people discriminate against, Amavaite and Vaite and Aluya. Avaite means Meru, and Aluya, or somebody from the western provinces or the coastal provinces, and so on and so forth. So basically, if I don't speak your mother tongue, I probably wouldn't like you simply because you speak a different mother tongue. And that is from province to province, from even uh, uh, dialects within the same tribe can also face tribalism simply because they speak in a different way. So, for instance, Meru and Embu, and so on and so forth. So, aside from that, we also see clashes in regard to individuals not wanting to intermarry simply because somebody's from a different tribe. And this is usually from the fact that we are not the same, in the sense that how our virtues, our beliefs, and our cultures are. Because in as much as we are all Kenyans, we differ quite a lot in terms of culture and moral values and all that kind of thing. So, for instance, you'll see that some tribes are for FGM, while others are for shaving heads, while others are for not having ladies wear skirts, and so on and so forth. So you have very different tribes, and these actually are the root causes into why some tribes do not want to have inter relations with others. However, it goes also instead of this being a point of interest and a point of learning more, we make it as a point of division. So, Nyanduko, tell us a little bit about your own experience and what do you think about the topic?
Thank you, Victoria. So tribalism is, you know, sadly part of us as a community, and by a community I mean as Kenyans, because I want to focus my argument on Kenya. Now, we
Joko, Joko, your sound is very very shaky. I don't know if there's a way that you can help us fix that, because it's actually breaking off like robotic ish. So if you can, and we can't hear what you're saying.
Of
So
course, we will ask Nyanduko to fix that so that she can bring in her point. So, as we start this topic, let me bring in Becky and find out, Becky, as a journalist, we want to establish what is the role of the media in propagating the positivity of tribes vis-a-vis what happened during the post-election violence, and how can we help one another moving forward.
Wow, like there's so much that the media, there's there's such a big role that the media has to play in uniting people, and especially in a country like Kenya right now. We are headed to an electioneering period. Next year we have elections. Right now we are looking at the BBI, and the media has a very big role to play. As we all know, politicians love the media. Actually, that's how people get to know you. That's how people get to sort of just buy. Tunazita sera. I don't know. Sera is what? Buy your manifesto, right? So because that's a chance that you get to actually just sell what you have in mind for them. And I mean, the media plays a very important role because we are the same people, we are the same platform that these people might use to either propagate you know very wrong things, have hate speech, or have or propagate a very negative vibe, to the society. So if we are not careful, we can be used, so to speak. Like our platform can be used to just send very negative vibe that will make people now start fighting each other. So the media definitely has a very, very, very important role to play, and we are the same people who can actually preach peace. We can preach peace by all means, by bringing in the right shows, by bringing in the right people, or rather just censoring some information that we feel is not very relevant to, or is not good if we passed it out to the general population, because it will incite them in one way or another. Yeah, so definitely there's a role that we have to play as the media, Ellie. And yeah, that's why we are here. I mean, to talk about this today.
Yeah, great. Let me just bring in Noreen and find out. Noreen, you've heard what Becky has said about the role of the media, but of course, at the same time, you understand that teachers and, of course, society at large and young people equally play a role in the whole scenario. Why is it that every time we have very interesting issues to discuss about, we virtually end up discussing politics and the media gives politics priority? Don't we have enough issues to discuss as young people? Noreen, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Ellie. We have a lot of issues to discuss about as as Kenyans, as Kenyan citizens. But there's one thing we need to remind ourselves. What is the like what is the role of tribalism? Like from the beginning, what was the main role of tribe? Because we're looking at tribe was meant to act as a form of it was meant to act as a form of identity among among people who live in the same social group. But now in Kenya, right now, tribalism is now is now associated with negative ethnicity and uh, and corruption, corruption influences. So every time people meet to discuss about anything, like kama if we come from the same social group, aya, we can discuss and support someone who comes from the same social group that I come from. But now always the negative thoughts goes to someone who is from a different social group. And the same things happen even in schools, whereby unapata even teachers who come to a school, kama employer ni maybe let's say ni mkao, it's a kamba, then kama mi ni mkamba nitapata job, because people have it. Kambas are very hardworking, and yes, it is true, yes, they are hardworking. But now the rate at which watu wanakuwa employed because of how they do jobs, or because of their appearance, or because of their backgrounds, or because of their social group, it really brings an alarm in Kenya right now. And this is the main reason why tribalism is just on a very high level in Kenya right now. And also, you've also asked about why people discuss about politics, and like anything inakuja ni politics, because right now, like politicians saizi, like getting into politics right now, you have to, for me to vote for you early, let's say as a governor, okay, wachana na mambo ya governor unatoka area yako, but as a minister of something or even as the president of Kenya, lazima niulize Eli anatokanga wapi? I akona jina kweli, like where you come from itakuwa associated na the kind of leadership you'll get in the country, and it is so sad. And I think it has reached to a point whereby people are just fed up, and they really want to talk. Wanaona if they talk more or if they talk about something, it'll change. But you know what? The more we continue talking, the more it gets even worse. Yeah, like people are trying to get ways of maybe releasing stress or something, but it is so unfortunate that we are in this place, and unless we as Kenyans decide and find a solution on how to do away with tribalism and this favorism thing, like hakuna penye tutasonga, so that is my contribution to this.
Nori, you've actually tried to cover the whole part, all the way from politics to I mean social values and everything. And I want to bring in Nyanduko. Nyanduko, I hope now I can be able to hear you. Let's try and see if this works again. So Nyanduko, you want to say hi before I can see if you are able to go on air?
Hi, is it fixed now?
We are almost there.
Oh God, I honestly do not know what's happening with my audio today, and there were headphones. Anyway, we're gonna work with what is there. So it's sad that I do not know. I cannot hear myself, so I do not know what's going on. But
Ellie, we cannot hear you. You're muted.
Decided to sleep on her job. So I was saying this as Nyanduko actually tries to fix that, because this is a very interesting topic that we need to actually get everybody's perspective. And Becky, let me take you back to 2007 post-election violence. And in comparison to the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, I mean, how can you draw comparisons between these situations, and why is it important that we speak about positive tribalism as a nation?
Wow, those are like 3 questions. Let me go back. Okay. So, of course, the genocide in Rwanda, that was crazy. I mean, like in 100 days, 800,000 people. Can you imagine in 100 days, 800,000 people because of this thing that we call tribe? Just because some are Hutus, some are Tutsis. And it messed up the whole uh, situation in that country, because something that probably just started as not such a very big deal, but people started viewing each other as much as they were born together, they were born in the same country, but because they were speaking a different language, they started fighting each other. I cannot really compare that to the post-election violence, but of course we have similarities, because it was also a tribal issue that arose, of course, during 2007 post-election violence. But for us, I mean, with all the 40, how many tribes are we, Eli, in Kenya? 43? 47? 40? How many are we?
I know that officially they said 43, and there's one that was added the other
Yeah,
side the other day.
there's one that was
followed.
added recently.
So I suppose it's
So
44.
we'll do our homework.
Yes.
So you can imagine all those tribes that we have in Kenya. I mean, we have very rich cultures. If you looked at every tribe that we have in Kenya, our cultures are very rich. We have, we've been born together, though from different regions, but somehow the unifying factor is that we are all Kenyans, for example. And of course, in the scenario, in the Rwandan scenario, I mean, the only two tribes, but because the Hutus were the majority, I think like 85%, and there was this minority when walikuwa nakaa ni kama hawa watu wana dominate kidogo. Can you imagine now, like the 85% fighting the 15%?
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at what that did to Rwanda and to the African continent at large, and up to date we still talk about it. It's in 1994. We look at countries like Congo, there's still war up to date, up to today. I mean, tribes are still fighting because of the country is still fighting because of tribes, because of tribal differences. So I mean, it's something that we need to really come to a place where we can start appreciating our countries. We can start appreciating that we are actually Africans. Look at the Western countries. It's just the other day that we started seeing whatever happened to the Trump situation, that we started, I mean, also we're like, oh, so even blacks can throw, even whites can throw stones. We thought it was an African thing. But I mean, it's just the other day. But for us as an African country, I think we've gone through so much, even in the hands of colonialists back
Yeah.
in the day. If there's anything that we needed to do, is to be united. I mean, based on our history, if there's anything that we needed to do after the colonization period, is to now unite and just know that we are Africans, we are one, we need to speak one language, but have and appreciate that we come from different tribes and different regions. And of course, post-election violence, I mean, was not a very good position to be in as a country. And all the time we cross our fingers as Kenyans not to go back to the same position. I personally don't like uh, voting years. I don't like them. Like I dread I dread those years because I saw what happened in 2007. People that I actually knew, were killed. I saw my friends, houses being torched. Not so, I mean, I didn't witness it, but I mean, they became homeless because their houses were torched. Why? Because they were of a different tribe. So if only we can find what is beautiful in each tribe and try and appreciate it and celebrate it, then I think we'll begin this conversation. Yeah, and we'll
Uh,
start like a good conversation now towards the right direction.
Great. Let me just see if I can get Nyanduko back. And thank you, Becky, for that contribution. Nyanduko, how are you doing now?
I'm about to give a. I honestly do not know what's happening. So
You are good. We can hear you. We can hear you.
I was
Just
actually
step
gonna say
aside.
good night. I was just gonna say good night. So I honestly do not know where to start. So until I honestly get the bearing, let someone else say something. But we are good with the sound.
Yes, we can manage with that for the moment. So no problem,
Okay.
Nyanduko. Kindly
Okay.
accept that. So I want to drive in some other angle into this discussion and ask you a very personal question. Have you ever been discriminated against because of your tribe, Nyanduko? And how did that make you feel as an individual?
Uh, I'm actually smiling because mm, first, people at first glance, someone cannot actually tell what tribe I am. So the only kind of discrimination I've ever gone through is where you're walking, and then people from my tribe are walking behind me and they're talking. They're actually talking about me in my mother tongue that they assume I do not understand. You know, and the only other thing are the assumptions that people have about you being. If I'm a Kisi, people have assumptions that there are things I know. I know how to run at night. I know how to. It is just basically what we have become as Kenyans because we've embraced tribal memes. We make it look like we are joking, but we really are not. We're insulting people in the process. I have not really faced discrimination based on my tribe because one, I speak multiple languages, and by languages I mean Kikale, Kikisi, Kijaka, Kiluya. I speak quite a number. So before someone can actually place me in one box and say that this is who you are, labda when they ask your name, you know, people just do not get contented when they ask you your name and you tell them Victoria. Someone wants to know what's your other name, and when I meet people like those, I just think they're shallow. Why can't we just go on first name basis until we are comfortable enough for us to discuss our other names? I mean, why do you want to judge me based on whether my name is Nyanduko or whatever? And I got to a point where I was tired of explaining. I'm Kisi, I'm not Kamba, I'm not. So I started using my two names, Nyanduko, Nyabuto. And it has saved me a lot of explanations at this point. So we live in a society that has made memes look like they're tribal. We have comedians doing tribal jokes, and we've embraced it as a society. So where are we going with this tribal thing? Tanzanians and Ujamaa, and then we have Kenyans and our 40 whatever tribes. It is a journey, but we said one person at a time. So if you get to a point, these days parents are naming their kids two Swahili names. They're not giving their kids tribal names, and it is a step towards the positive, really. And I can see Becky is really smiling. I don't know why, but it is a step towards the positive. And we, our parents, really contributed to the whole tribal thing, because you're told, women in Kisi, you have your virtues as a Kisi girl. There's a way you should behave as a Kalenjin girl. Then you want to go to school and then you meet culture shock. Unapata mtu na culture yao yote ya Wameru. Now you want to tell them, yeah, Kisi, from where I come from, we don't do that. So it's a journey. It's a journey. Victoria,
There's
you
something
look
that
like
you
you
said.
want to say something.
I have a lot to say. I always have a lot to say. There's something that I wanted to actually go off on. There's one thing that you mentioned about artists and how we make fun. We make tribal jokes, and we've embraced it. And how even as we are not only comedians but generally as artists, how do we contribute towards tribalism? So is it because we're trying to make it overall, where you see, for instance, in shows, a Meru comedian, the basis of their jokes will be the American in them. So, or it will be another tribe. So, for instance, they would make fun of how another tribe does things, or they would make fun of how, or build into the stereotype. So, what exactly do you guys think? Now, we had Brenda, actually, Brenda, why, Rebecca, I'm so sorry, who said from the journalist perspective, now from an artist perspective, do you feel that we actually contribute to tribalism, or do you feel that we're trying to bridge the gap? What do you feel like we're doing, especially as artists, towards tribalism?
Um, I actually don't mind them. Because I think the moment we start making fun of each other's tribes, it already shows that we appreciate that. Oh, so what Kikuyus are money minded, for example, or we say as long as it's not very like to the negative side, like the night running one, that that yeah, like I mean, something like that wouldn't be so nice. But for example, you'd make jokes on bananas, or I don't mind them as long as they're not like insulting, but I think they're actually good because it shows that we appreciate that. Nakwanga na accent, these ones can run very fast, or these ones can do this and that. As long as we're not insulting each other, then I feel like it's actually one of the ways that we can you can use to appreciate each other. That, oh, I appreciate that I'm from the middle side of Kenya, or I'm from the lake side. And what was it Ndugu say, what she was talking about, like naming, how we name our kids might actually be one of the ways that we can get rid of this. um I don't want to say it's a bad thing. Tribalism is the bad thing, but the tribes are not bad, And one of the ways that I think it's something that we've adopted with my husband, like how we named our child, because I'm married to a Luo and I'm Kikuyu. My husband is Luo, I'm Kikuyu, and our child, therefore, we decided we won't give her any tribal name. We decided to name her Kyla Anaisha. Kyla, I mean, is English, and Anaisha is Indian, and we are none of that. So by the time someone tries to seek and like to search for her tribe, I mean, you'd probably just give up because she doesn't have a Luo name, she doesn't have a Kikuyu name. So I mean, it's one of the things, and of course, intermarriages, probably something that we'll talk about later. Intermarriages is also another way of just wiping off the whole negative tribalism thing. Yeah.
Then I have another question for Noreen. Noreen, what would your thoughts be in regard to the positive aspect? So, for instance, I have a company and I only employ my people. How in many situations this is viewed as something that is very, very negative. However, when we spoke about colorism last time, we also discussed how we should be employing more dark skinned people, especially to create the whole aspect of supporting each other. So how do you feel? Is it a point of negativity that you employ Adoanyoba, or is it was a point of supporting your own people so that they can be able to be employed and they can be able to get jobs? What do you think? Because I feel like Noreen.
That is a very good question. But again, we need to start from where tribalism was born. You remember during the pre-colonial period, where we had the British colonies coming into Kenya, and now they were so much associating themselves with the Luos, you know. And the reason why they were associating with the Luos, research has it that it is because the Luos are good here. They believed that Luos were sawa. And again, on the other side, they did not want to associate themselves with the Kikuyus. Reason being, they knew, okay, they believed that Kikuyus are money, they are money minded. Like, wow, ni biashara and waliona ni kama ni waongo. But that is what they believed in. And now when you're coming right now to what is happening right now, even in the companies or any employer anywhere, like people want to employ people from the same social group. Okay, in one way or another. Firstly, I should say, for some reasons it will be positive, and for some reasons it will be negative. Let's say, for instance, here in Nairobi, we are in Nairobi right now, and Nairobi carries different people from different backgrounds, and you are an employer. Because you come from Luya land, you only want to let Luyas in. Come on. I believe that we are okay. Our motherland is Kenya, and now because our motherland is Kenya, we belong to Kenya, and we do not belong to a certain group. So if it's lifting each other, if it's lifting someone, we need to lift each other, like regardless of where they come from, because at the end of it all, even from people from other countries, watakuja waseme, by the Kenya kuko sawa. They'll not say, Wajaluo wako sawa. They don't know about Luo. They only know about Kenya. And that's why I'm saying, like, we should not dwell so much into because, okay, when we really want to employ people that come from the same social group as we do, like, I really think, okay, not thinking, I really know that this thing, like, tuna support tribalism very much. Okay, so what I would say is, we shouldn't really be just employing people from where we're coming from, because we need to learn from each other. We need to learn about people's culture. We need to know how people do their things, and at the end of the day, tutakuwa tuna learn, tutakuwa tuna grow, and we'll be developing day by day. But if you, like, unajua, kama ni wewe unajua mamako, if your mom is the only one who knows how to cook, ebu enda uko nje, tembe uko nje, utakula chakula mamako. So, like, you really need to know what other people are doing, and I'm really emphasizing on people interacting with one another from where they come from, and even at the place of work. Like, employ mtu yoyote, because we are all Kenyans at the end of the day, and we need to realize that unity. I'm just advocating for unity and nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Noreen, for that contribution. So we are discussing tribalism tonight, and we are still focusing on why is it as a people we tend to remember our tribes or our ethnic divisions when we are headed to matters that matter, which is the national cake. And we want to see vis-a-vis how then can we use our different tribal backgrounds to improve our integration as a nation and to have positive tribalism other than discriminative tribalism. We take a short break. We'll be right back after this because I want to question more to Becky why she chooses to mention and rather name her children with English and Indian names. In my feeling, this is not just removing the tribal, but it's actually killing the Africanism in us as a people. So, Becky, we'll be right back.
Am I the person supposed to be looking for you?
Mm-hmm.
You need to talk, you know.
Unampigia simu leo,
Mm-hmm.
hashiki simu, kesho hashiki simu, ama labda akishika mnaongea kidogo anakuambia ngoja nifanye nini? Ni receive simu ya mtu mwingine, unaona?
Kama we've agreed on the projects I have and I have my own money. I have no problem yeye kuchip in whatever he has. Kama anataka, si ati I'm forcing him to do that.
Coming from Africa into Europe, people look at you as a not well formed. For example, taking a dessert, taking appetizers, and then taking the main course. You see?
But watu wengi sana ni hiyo nakwambia, they really fake. Like, okay, si ati fake. Picha wana update, mapicha wanaonekana wako poa, so demand home itakuwa too high.
Life beyond borders, against the odds.
So every time that I'm by you, I'm gonna make an effort to secure your little insecurities. And every time you stand with me, na kuahidi utajua, utaamini that I'm just a simple man.
Kabi Kamau tells me it is the Victoria Falls secrets.
If you have not invested in a proper sexual toy, please do not improvise.
You never know, because at the end of the day, it's about making the fingers do the walking. Sorry, is it the talking?
It's the walking.
So I'll talk on behalf of the girls who are in the rural Kakamega, who don't know what it is, and they go to church and they're told this is a sin.
Most funny thing about sex is the one thing that you're taught not to do since you're a small girl, and then when you get married, everybody is telling you, go ahead and do that bad thing.
Great. So in case you are joining us, we are at In Heart, and tonight we are focusing on tribalism. We are asking you questions as to why, as a people, we continue to discriminate against ourselves based on our tribal divide. I have our guest and panelist, and of course, my co-host Nyanduko Nyabuto in Nairobi. Once again, good evening, Nyanduko. And let's take this to the next level. Prior to our break, we were talking to Becky because she mentioned an important part, which is the naming of children that is supposed to actually deal away with tribalism. You equally said once you introduce yourself, For a long, long time, you didn't want people to refer or ask you, and what is your other name? I mean, I feel like in a way or another, we are trying to deal with tribalism, but at the same time eroding our Africanism, which is part and parcel of who we are. What is your take, Nyanduko and Becky? Let's start with Nyanduko first.
Ellie, I honestly, we are not changing our skin color. We're just choosing to name people differently. I mean, it does not make you less African or less Kenyan because you do not choose, and it does not make me Nyanduko Nyabuto. It does not make me more African because I'm using my African names. You know, we're not eroding anything. So long as this kid or this person I can speak my mother tongue. Tribes are not a bad thing, really. The problem comes in when we become tribal. You know, when we make the whole thing about what tribe are you? You know, you cannot tell me anything because you're from this tribe. But if we are cordial, if we have an understanding that we have a national language, for God's sake, why can't we just speak in Swahili? Or we are speaking English on this show, Ellie, right now. Are we eroding our Africanism now that we're using, you know, a different language? I honestly do not think that naming has anything to do with whether you're more African or less African. I think that it is a state of mind. Africanism, being an African, being a Kenyan, is a state of mind, and how proud you are to be associated with one. I have no problem with people, you know, saying I am Kisi, but before I'm Kisi, I am Nyanduko. You know, before all those things, before you want, I'm so many things. Before you get to me being Kisi, I am a teacher, I'm an actor, I'm a content creator. By the time you get to I am a Kisi, you would have dug deep. And I mean, those are not things for, you know, people that you just met, people that you do not know. So when you just meet me and you want to ask me what is your other name, what business do you have with my other name? Just use the name that I've given you. What do you think, Becky?
Let's get Becky.
No, you're actually right. I keep telling people that before, when I started dating my husband, I didn't know his tribe, and no one believes me because we've been, yes, I didn't know his tribe, by the way, because his second name is Mulure. Can you guess where Mulure is from? Anyone? Is it coastal? Is it Luya? Is it Luo? Like, you can't. So I think I fell in love with the person before I fell in love with their tribe. And for me, I was like, okay, now this person, I love this person, and I'm gonna figure out their tribe along the way. But of course, you know, later on, now it was Luo, and you know the history of Luo and Kikuyus and whatnot, and it was now a big deal then. But you see, when we talk about tribes and we talk about this whole situation, like Nyanduko is saying, we are the ones who are supposed to, like, we can wipe it off by how we choose, by what we choose. Actually, it's actually a mentality, and it does not make us less Africans now that we don't. For example, I'm not in Maasai beads, yeah, or I'm not in a turban like Nyanduko, or it has to have like tribal prints for me to look African. It does not take away my Africanism because I'm not dressed in Oga clothes or or anything like that. But I think it's all in the mind, it's all in the heart. Like, if we can be Kenyan or we can be African at heart, because the same tribes, the same people who are named in these tribal names, like I'm Wanjiko, I'm Nyawera, I'm Odwor, I'm Nyanduko, I'm Kata. I mean, the same people fight against each other with the African names. So it's actually a state of mind, like you said, Nyanduko, and I think it's something that we can change. It's a narrative that we can definitely change. And for me, like I think Ellie, you were asking earlier on why we chose that. It does not take away the Africanness. And I think because of what my husband and I went through, we were like, you know what, we are done with these Kenyan names. Like, I don't think we want to even name our children anything close to Kenyan names, because actually our daughter was supposed to called Adhiambo. So we were done. Like, you know what? Let's give her an Indian name and an English name. Probably in future, anyway, when other kids come, we can give them like we can probably call them Jabali. I mean, those are very neutral names, eh? Jabali, Faru, or what? Wingu. I
See,
mean, we can call them anything else. Sorry,
Rebecca,
Furu.
when
Yeah.
you said, when there's something I just want to quickly go back to. When you said that what you and your husband went through, I would like to know what is the story behind the decision, because it seems like, and of course, if you're comfortable with sharing, because it could definitely be an inspiration to somebody out there. What is the story and what is the inspiration behind what you went through? Because once you mentioned that, I was already like, oh wait, there's something behind it. So it wasn't just random that you decided to go to do this. So what are the challenges that you went through that made you decide to do this?
I'm gonna make it very brief. Personally, from when I was growing up, my husband's story is also different. When I was growing up, I keep saying this. There were homes. I grew up in an estate in Nakuru town, a proper estate with different tribes. But I noticed that there were homes that my mom didn't allow us to go to. Yeah, like we were never allowed to go to certain homes. We could play with kids from certain homes, but we could not play with kids from other homes. Um,
We're gonna try and fix that. You know, these kind of things happen when you're a parent and working from home. So kindly pardon our guest. She will be back on air in a few hours to describe to us her experience growing up in a multicultural and of course different kind of society that has different tribes. I have some comments here, Vicky, if you want to take us there. And I find a very interesting comment from my husband here.
Yes, of course. Hezbollah says being passionately affiliated to a tribe is not wrong, but thinking that the other tribe is not just wrong but deeply evil is the problem. I also feel the same way. And also, another aspect to bring in is thinking that your tribe is superior to others. You see how we have quote unquote major tribes. I would love to see leaders who are from the Courier tribe. I would love to see leaders and people who are coming up this in who are from the Sakuya tribe. If you know, please go and read up on your tribes. The Gosha tribes. These are tribes that we don't hear much of, but these are tribes that are there. So for me, to think that just because I'm a Meru and because we are a major tribe, that I'm better than other tribes, or I'm better than a Luo simply because I'm a Meru, or Luos because they think they have, that sin, they're better or they're smarter or whatever. That is where the problem comes in. We have all diverse things that we can bring to society, and it's really nice to be appreciative of that. So yes, you're very, very right, husband. Kipro says, oh, I also like it when somebody calls me Miss Kiplangat. By my name tag at work just has my surname, unlike the rest of my colleagues. Funny story. I actually disliked the name Katha until recently. I hated the name Katha, honestly. But when I actually knew that that is the most valuable name that I actually have, I really, really embraced it. And the beautiful thing is that I will play the devil's advocate to some degree and disagree with Nduko in terms of losing out on our Africanism. I know that there are English names that have a lot of beautiful meanings, but I also know that most of our tribal names also have so much deep within them. Also, some of them have meanings in terms of your position in family and so on and so forth, or if you're named after your grandmother and so on and so forth. So I really also love these days when people call me Katha. And the only problem is that there are too many Kathas. So that's the only problem I have. Next comment, please.
We will take them little
Nkata,
by little. Go ahead, Noria.
Yeah.
just a minute. Nkata, you've just talked about names, embracing names from where we come from. Hey, ushaitembea Uluyani? Kuna watu wanaitwa let me say this. Like, because you're a Luya, utaita mtoto bakuli. Hmm?
So you add a she at the beginning, alafu pa badala ya ba unaweka pa alafu kuli. My friend, that is Luya. And you know, like I Waluya enyewe sisi ni wale wase. If you're watching me and you're a Luya, inua tu mkono na useme sisi ni wale wase. So it's so interesting. And again, please, even as we name our children, tutafute hata majina zingine. There is okay, if you are watching and you know me and you know me, okay, there is this name. How can you call your child Jimmy? You know, there are some names like you start, okay, in Kiluya. I don't know if there is a Luya listening to this. Now turn the Genie name into Luya accent and now pronounce it. Hey, Waluya jamani. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Lakini when you're naming your children, tafadhali tukiname watoto. Norin, are you listening to yourself? When you'll be naming your child, please, hata kama ni ile jina ya kutoka Uluyani, please tafuta hata jina nzuri, jina presentable. Si jina inaku associate na vitu mbaya mbaya. How can you anyway, let me stop there, Eli.
Thank you, Noreen. Thank you, Noreen. And that's a very interesting perspective. I don't know if Nyanduko, you want to counter what these two have said, because I really want to follow up a few more comments on the name issue as I bring back Becky.
Now, I wanted to, what Noreen has said is actually true. I did my internship in Western Kenya, and where Waluya mna majina. But now I wanted to talk about majinas. I taught a student some time back, alikuwa anaitwa Kerongo Ngiti. If there's a kisi in the house, they can tell you that those are two names. They're animals. One is a snake. One is, I don't know what a Kerongo is, but it is a very bad thing. So you just wake up one day, you call your son Kerongo Ngiti. Now, how do you want this child to embrace? Now, this guy used to go by the name Elijah and did not use his other names, and no one ever understood why. And then you find out later, mtoto Kisi is called kids nyang'au. That is a whole animal, yo. It is a whole. You just woke up and decided to insult your child. Why? So even as we are naming, as we want people to, I also hated my name. By the fun fact, I also hated Nyanduko for a very long time. Ungenita Nyanduko, by the way, I would cry. and then I got into the comedy industry. And I just tried to make Emily sound it wasn't working. So I went back to my roots. So even as you call people bad names, okay, African names, wow. Even as you call your kids African names, just make sure they're names they can say in front of people. Do not. Okay, no, Nkatha amesema wao wanapewa majina na meanings. Lakini you know how many Nkatha? I know so many. Anyway, that is not what I was discussing today. When you're giving your kids names, hata kama ni meaning basi, si you round it off to the nearest nice thing, ndio asiitwe nyang'au.
You see, right there, we already have a discrimination against tribe, because at the end of the day, let's see for some instances. Now you say that Luyas name their kids like this, or Kisi's names their kids like this. When you go to, I don't, not all Merus, but when you go to Merus, you have other names. So you have things like Monene, which means the boss, like, boss. And then you have names like Nkatha. And Nkatha means a woman who is amejitosheleza, like she's, yeah, exactly. So you have names you have very many names which are meaningful. And when I learned the meaning of them, I learned how to embrace them. So I understand the fact that also a lot of people can also be discriminated based on tribe, simply because you see already that people are like, hey, wakisi wanajuanga tu this and that because wanakwanga tu wanyama. You understand, in that way. So maybe we also can look at maybe we can also look at how we are also contributing towards that and bringing a negative connotation into the tribes that we're in, or rather the tribes that we are part of. Maybe even naming our kids and changing the narrative, not necessarily completely having quote unquote English names or so on and so forth, but finding names that actually bring better meaning and also bring up the community as such. I love Nigerians where you find a child is called Patience or Lua something, and it means God blessed and all that kind of thing, which is very, very beautiful. So, in that aspect, we can also be part of creating this positive connotation towards our tribes. And then I can see that Rebecca is back.
Yes, Rebecca is back, but I'm trying to have her technician adjust the lighting there. We can barely see her. So as you fix that, Becky, kindly. In the meantime, and this is a conversation, I want us to have very mature conversation about this issue to do with names, because they, in a way, give us relationships to our tribes. And somebody was arguing the other day with myself, and I said, I think name is a very big identity to any individual. By mention of name, you are able to determine where this person comes from. So I seek to differ with those that believe by just adopting names from everywhere, we actually removing that which we do not need to deal with, which is tribalism. Even if you go to the biblical approach and the story of the Bibles, you'll see, and David was the son of, and Jesus was the son of this from the house of David. So I think names give us identity. And it is not wrong to identify with Nyang'au, because Nyang'au meant something different in that community. Probably it was one of the strongest or bravest animals according to that society, most feared. It is not a problem to be called Manani. You know, Manani is a beast. So if you are being attacked, and that is in my tribe, if you're called Manani, you are supposed to defend the rest from being attacked because you are fierce. Nobody can fight against you because you are a beast. So I need us to understand those perspectives. But meanwhile, I want to get Becky's story about her walk of marriage and how tribalism came into play as she finishes the topic of names. Becky. Oh, Vicky, please adjust that kindly.
Uh,
Great.
are we
We
okay
have
now?
you now, Becky. Go ahead. Yes.
All right. I'm saying Nyang'au is actually jaguar. Is it?
Great. And it, yeah,
Yeah, and the jaguar is such a beautiful animal. The car itself, jaguar.
voila.
Yeah. Oh, so like I said, I grew up in a cosmopolitan town. Nakuru was very cosmopolitan, and then our estate had different tribes. But I noticed there are very specific houses that we were told not to go to, or rather, if mom found out that you had gone to that home, then it would sort of just bring an issue like, hapana, usikuwa unaenda kwa nyumba za wenyewe. But when I go to some houses, hakuna shida. Like I can even go and eat there, then come back home. Only for me to find out later on in life that the specific houses that you aren't going to were actually Luo homes.
And you married Alua.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to bring fight or reunion. What were you picking on?
So I think, later on I also made that decision that I will not get married to my tribe. I'll not get married to a Kikuyu. Because but I wouldn't really blame her. It's because of how she was socialized from when she grew up, and then kidogo kidogo, I don't know where the tribal difference came from, and ikakuwa ni kama Wajaluo. Hapana, we were being told, oh, Luos, I mean, their houses just smell fish. I'm gonna say it because we need to address these issues. Like, their houses just smell fish. There's no difference between maji ya karai and maji ya jikoni. You get, like,
That's
they
very
would
true.
get like a sufuria and just chota maji ya karai with it, and maji ya, And so there were all these things that surrounded the Luo tribe that I think also, I mean, it wasn't somewhere that I was supposed to go to. And for my husband, it was the post-election violence. He witnessed He witnessed it in 2007. He witnessed his friends being killed. He witnessed his neighbors, people that he knew, like he saw people turning against him because he wasn't of their tribe. He wasn't Kikuyu. He was Luo. And I think coming from such backgrounds, we had a unifying factor. Like we just knew that, I mean, we need to kill this tribal thing. And that was it. Like we're gonna raise children who are Kenyan, who are not Luo, who are not Kikuyu, but they're Kenyan. It's not just a narrative. It's something that we were very deliberate about. And one of the ways of doing that was just to, like I said, the name. One of the ways was the name. We haven't taught her Luo or Kikuyu. Of course, I'd want her maybe to learn them at some point, to learn the tribes, but we are just fine with her speaking English and Kiswahili.
Oh,
Yes,
so
because
your
it
kids
was,
are
it was
Bontao.
very.
They do not know what Shosho means. Neither do they understand what Obambala means. And you are
No,
raising Kenyan children in English language. I wish you well. I
no,
really wish you well.
I'm saying, of course, that, but Swahili is Kenyan, isn't it? Swahili is
It's
Kenyan,
universal. But, well, I do not
and
want
it's
to,
universal
to
in this
grill you on that
example.
anyway.
But you get my point, yeah. So
I
because of
get your
these
point.
backgrounds, and even when we got to a point now we needed to get married, it was such a big deal for my family. It was a big deal for his family. This was the first intertribal marriage in
Yeah.
my family.
Yeah.
For him too, like I think it was a first. It was very hard for us to convince our parents, because I remember now later on, of course, I knew he was Luo, and the first thing that my family asked me was his tribe. Like, oh, so I'm gonna bring you this guy that I like, and the first question was, what tribe is he? And the word spread faster that he was Luo than his name. The word that he was Luo spread faster in the family than his name, and it was a
Great.
big no. I was summoned and whatnot. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's a
Thank you,
long
Becky, for
story.
that story. And if you're watching this tonight, we are discussing about tribalism and why it has really, it has become sort of a cancer in our society. Because I want to take you back, for those who know the Kenyan history. It did not just start today. It goes all the way to the independence period and, the lobbying towards formation of government and the choosing of the then Prime Minister, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and it has evolved over time. And talking about tribal divides, I grew up with some myth, and I beg to be corrected because this is a myth that has existed. They were telling us, don't you dare bring here a Kikuyu because a Kikuyu wife will have you murdered. And these are very interesting but dangerous kind of myth that people spread around. Then we have other people saying you can never trust a Kamba because you can trust a Kamba, but they will always tell on you. But there are other and when we move on the flip side, everybody tells you if you need a good wife for other things, trust a Kamba. So I'm confused. The point I'm trying to bring here is, despite our ethnic backgrounds, we all have positive traits that those tribes bring to the table. So what is your experience and what do you want to share with us? The hashtag is Art in Art, responding to live. Put your comment in the comment section. We will be coming through that. So back to you, Nyanduko. Mtoto wa Nyang'au ama ni Nyanduko? Go ahead.
I was wondering why you're not unmuting my mic. No, I'm gonna tell you people how I got to know Kalenjin. This is what happened. I went to school in Molo and I was raised in Nakuru as well. Now, during the 2007 post-election violence, I was in school. I was in a boarding school in Molo. Now, we used to go get water from some place that was outside school. So the only way you could get out of school is if you could speak Kalenjin, because You would meet people on the road and they ask you, where do you come from? What is your name? And I had to adapt a Kalenjin name and I had to speak Kalenjin for me to stay in school. It was bad because people were being killed. Mtu amenita nyang'au kwa comments. Anyway, what I'm saying is sometimes, like Ellie, I think what Becky has been saying all along is African names are not a bad thing. We do not disagree up to that point. It is okay to be called Nyanduko, Nyabuto. It's okay to be called Ambata and your other name. It is very fine. The problem comes in when I want to think that because I'm Nyanduko, I'm better than, I'm better than Ambata. And I want to believe that, my tribe is superior because interior CS and Komatiani is from our place. Now I want to feel like I'm better than you who have Oparanya. At the end of the day, we have to agree that we are Kenyans. The baseline is before I am a Kisi, I am a Kenyan. Before I am all these other things, I am a Kenyan. And when we get to a point where we agree that there have been so many memes about Kisis this year, man, we've seen it all. Tangu last year, but the thing is, once we stop viewing it from a superiority point of view, we want to believe Kikuyu's feeling that us to be giving you presidents all along. What are you giving us? And then we tell you we have given a musician who is embarrassing us in the social media, and it is life. At the end of the day, if we accept that we are Kenyan, before I am Muiruri, before I am Nyanduko Nyabuto, we are Kenyans, and we face it from that point on. It will be easier to maneuver this thing called life and even interactions than when we want to address it. Eli, hata tukisema tribes are good, if we meet in a setup and I'm speaking my Kikisi and I'm like, now you speak your Kikisi, we are then try and agree. Will we? At the end of the day, we have to try and speak. Becky is laughing. Now we have to agree to because as much as we want to be, we are an elite group of Africans. At the end of the day, we went to school for a reason. Early, we didn't go to school so that our kids will come and speak to us in our Kikisi again. Now because I want to embrace the fact that I'm a Kisi, now my baby will speak to me and speak Kikisi, or I will. No, they will know that in Chu means come here. The basics. They want to reintroduce mother tongue back in schools. If they do, well and good. Now, imagine the case of Becky trying to teach their kids.
Unfortunately, Nyanduko, you have great points. Unfortunately, we are having a very bad audio from your end, and we can barely make a word of what you're saying. However, I hope you can be able to come back on screen and share your your views, and not the way you're signing, because you've been insulting some of us because we are not so good in the sign language. Becky, even as we discuss this, and I want now to involve you and Noreen, because you are interesting parties in this whole scenario. Noreen is one of those people who decided they'll be raised in Kakamega, rather bred in Kakamega, definitely raised in Kakamega, and go to school in Kakamega, and just marry in Kakamega. What is the problem? Are you encouraging tribalism, or is it because you believe in your tribe? What is it, Noreen?
Okay. Wow. No. Teti, I don't know how to say this. Anyway, I believe matters to do with relationships comes from heart. So, me loving someone that I come from the same tribe with, like, it doesn't mean I'm a tribalist. You know, uh, if I got a Kamba guy, by then before meeting my Luya guy, I would na nipende na nimpende, I would definitely go to Kamba.
But you know Kamba ni kuna njaa bwana.
Nakwambia sasa, mimi hata hapo siangali. Si bora tutatafuta kashamba na hapa Ruiro, twende tukalime na tupande mahindi na hatutakuwa na njaa. It doesn't mean when I'm married to Kamba lazima nikae Ukambani. Yeah, you can always go somewhere na utafute venye mtapata kanini. Hata maembe iko, njaa gani? kwani maembe tunakula Nairobi inatoka wapi? Anyway, so I was saying matters to do with relationships and who you love, and it comes from heart. Like, it is a decision that you have to make it and stand by it, no matter what comes your way, no matter the obstacles of family members that you should not marry this, you should not marry that. Kama umependa, and that's it. There is nothing more about, because at the end of the day, it's about your own happiness. You're not doing this because, like, if Ellie, you want me to marry a Luo, or you want me to marry a Kikuyu, I'll not do that because I want to make you happy. I'll go to where my heart will feel comfortable and very happy. So hii mambo na kuzaliwa Uluyani huko haikuwa kupenda kwangu wa Kenya. Like, nilitaka tu I wasn't born in Kakamega. I was born in Nairobi. I was raised in Kakamega. I went to school in Kakamega. Yeah, I've grown in Kakamega. Hizo zote nimepata mtu kutoka Kakamega. And nashukuru Mungu. I thank God. So like, sikuwa na choice, you are young, and now the opportunity that comes, utilize venye iko. I'll not want to go to Alliance and maybe mifuko imekata, So I appreciated where I was, and because it was somewhere that ingenipeleka penye niko saizi, or ingenifikisha penye niko saizi, then why wouldn't I go for it? So I went to school, I worked, I passed, niko Nairobi. Saizi siitishi mtu pesa ya chakula, So it is just about, ukishasoma, at times tribes inakuwa useless. You get education, and now you know how to associate with one another, you know how to associate with different people, and you get yourself better day by day. Mimi ukiniambia wewe ni Mluya, sawa. Wewe ni rafiki yangu, wewe ni Mluya, ni sawa. You're a Kikuyu, you are my friend, we are Kenyans, sawa sawa. We can do this, we can do that. Let us not do this. This is how we do things, and that is how a Kenyan citizen should live. Si ati unakaa penye Waluya wako ndio unataka kuwa kwa hiyo group, penye Wajaka wako hapo ndio unataka kukaa. No, just be everywhere and love everyone. Yes.
Thank you, Noreen, for that. I will quickly shift gears, and I want to discuss about, the groupings as you have talked about. And also, Becky, you have seen a lot of times we always put ourselves into cocoons. What does it play what does that play when it comes to employment? And just talk about that, especially in the national government when employment comes. You remember when we were doing the devolution and they said, ni watu tu wa hii county peke yake ndio watafanya hapa kazi. So has devolution in any way increased tribalism, or has it helped reduce tribalism?
For one, I always think devolution was a great idea because people were able to access services better, as opposed to when the government was just one, like the national government. And it was a great idea to just, devolve a lot of services. And it was actually to encourage people to not migrate to the urban areas. Rather, Nairobi, I think, was always viewed as the major city. Of course, it's the capital city, and people would always think like all the opportunities are in Nairobi. But there are so many services that were available in Nairobi then that are now available in the counties. So it hasn't really fueled tribalism. If anything, I think it's okay. It's okay because people are able to access services better. But now, in terms of interacting with other regions, is what now I'd take to a personal initiative. I wouldn't say like it's a government, as much as the government is trying to encourage that. I saw, with institutions, with learning institutions, higher learning institutions, they try to bring in VCs from different tribes. And I know it brought a lot of issues in most of those counties. Like you find a university like Moi in Eldoret with a VC from a different tribe, maybe a Kikuyu. I don't know what tribe he is. I'm just giving an example. You see in Kisii University with a VC from Meru, which I think it was all in an effort of ile ya kusaidia at least watu watangamane, which was a good idea. Look at the commissioners. Look at the county commissioners. They actually don't come from those regions. A good example is Rift Valley. Rather, Nakuru County is headed by Natembea. Natembea is Luya. See, that is actually one way of just killing the
I
whole.
think he literally tembered to Nakuru County.
From Kitale, from Trans Nzoia. So it's actually a very good idea. I remember when Nani was in Mombasa. What's his name? He now heads the old people, Marwa. You remember him? Yeah, Marwa was in the coast. What tribe is he? He must be Kamba.
Wait, no, Marwa is a Swahili. I'm not
I'm,
so sure on
I'm
that.
not
I
so
have to
sure,
check out my
but he
notes.
wasn't.
Sorry.
Yeah, he wasn't. He
I
wasn't
will ask
Mikenda.
Norin to check on that.
Yeah, so you see, it was actually a very good idea to just have these commissioners from different tribes. As for governors and all these other elective posts, they are elective posts. So meaning that people would definitely vote for people that they know. If I was born, like Noreen said, like if she grew up in Kakamega, the only people that you know are people from Kakamega. So you're likely to just vote for a governor from within your region. You cannot pick someone from a different region and yet you're there, because they are elective posts. But for these ones that you're appointed by the state, then actually the responsibility goes back to the government to ensure that at least they try to kill the whole tribalism thing. Because if you have a Luya governor in Kakamega, for example, you've used Kakamega example a lot, and you have a commissioner, a county commissioner from a different tribe, it's actually a good thing. Or maybe the universities, because we'd see a lot of nepotism. It's nepotism everywhere. Including even those institutions, you'll find that the institution will not even accept kids from a different region. Say, unless it's maybe something like Nairobi University, where it's a bit more open. But devolution was a good idea, but now with this whole thing. But I remember you also asked about work and nepotism. I'd see that a lot in government offices. Sorry, like in the opinions that I'm expressing are mine. They're not for the organization that I work for. So I'd see that in a lot of government offices. You remember, up to date, the accent that we have for policemen is for Kalenjins. Remember?
Yeah.
Like the accent, had you size, if you wanted to imitate a policeman Eli, you'd say, wewe toka hapo, wacha kufanya nini? Because
Unatoka pale, unafanya
why?
nini? Because that's how it was.
Yes, that's how it was. Like you'd walk to any police station and you're so sure unapata a Kalenjin policeman. So pole pole, I think I've seen somewhere someone has talked about the defense force. That's a very good ground to just bring people now together. Like it's people from different tribes, and if bribery stopped, if people stopped, picking these people out of their tribe, just because you come from my region, I'm going to put you in the defense force. If people stopped picking them in accordance to the ruling president, like from the tribe that the president came from, then I think we are going to kill this. And actually, it has worked. Right now, you can bump into different tribes, policemen from different tribes, as opposed to back in the day. So it's slow, but if we are deliberate about it, we can actually make it. The only problem is I'm not so sure whether we are deliberate about it.
Yeah, we have to be deliberate. And just to be very factual about the initial information, Nelson Marwa is from Korea. So that we
Oh,
know. Yes.
okay.
Yeah, former Coast Province Commissioner. So,
Also, he's actually from the coast.
yes, exactly. Great, you got it. So let's have Victoria and Katha, and I want to ask Victoria and Katha because from the other perspective of the diaspora, because we have seen so many diaspora organizations that tend to address issues of diaspora members, but once they jet out of the country, they are diaspora, and everybody is a friend to everybody. What happens once they land in JKIA? And what has been your experience, Victoria?
Thank you so much, Ellie. You see, in the diaspora, there's this thing over here. We get used to it so much. You go everywhere. This is how we identify each other. And the moment I see this on somebody's hand, I immediately have a connection to them. That immediately becomes my friend. The first thought is not, oh, wait, is he a Jaluo? Is she a Kalenjin or whatever? The first thought is, oh my God, that's a Kenyan, that's my brother, that's my sister. I need to connect to them immediately. Because I believe that once you're placed in a situation of there is we are not that many, we are the minority, we want to stay together, we want to have that unity. Of course, sometimes it becomes harder than it normally is, but it actually we still feel a sense of responsibility towards each other simply because there's that bracelet, yeah, and there's that Kenyans need to stick together. The moment you get to JKIA, oh, I don't know. Once people get to their own, they get comfortable in the idea that now we are within our people, we can be able to be like, you know what, I don't need a Jaluo or a Kisi or whatever, simply because now I'm with my people, I'm with other Meru people, I'm with other Luya people, I'm with other people, so that I can be able to, connect more with them than I connect to the Luya friends that I probably made in the plane, in the flight, or whatever. So it's just that sense of belonging. That's one of the things. You have a sense of belonging where you think, okay, you know what, because the first things first is when I see this band, I know that somebody automatically speaks Swahili. So for me, I'm not looking to think, does this person speak Meru? That's not my first thought. But when I get to Kenya, the first thing I think, oh, anaongea Kimeru. Oh, come, let's talk. So there's that sense of, you mentioned it, identity, where somebody would first want to see, where are my people? And whatever you identify with as your people, that is where you run to. And sadly, this is the case. To some degree, it can be positive, as we were discussing initially. It can be positive, but it's also very, very negative, and only negative once it now becomes as a point of discriminating against other tribes and other individuals, or feeling that you're superior to other other tribes. So the whole idea of discrimination in itself, where today we're discussing tribalism, is the sense that I don't identify with others simply because I feel that I'm better than others, or I feel like the others are evil, or I have these stereotypes fed into my head, and I believe these stereotypes about people instead of getting to know people or feeding into the positive stereotypes. We started out by saying how people can actually have positive stereotypes where we can be able to take from the positivity, but sadly most of us tend to take towards the negative aspects.
Great, Victoria. And I still want to engage the rest of the panelists in this discussion. But as I finish with you, do you think, or have you ever been in a situation of need? Did you call American to help you out, or did you call a friend to help you out? And was it an American friend? Let's start with that discussion. A yes or a
No,
no would be
no, I didn't think of the first person to call, whether they are American or they are Kikuyu or whatever, I called a friend. And just as Noreen stated, the thoughts, I think it's all in the mindset and what you think and believe of other people. One of the things that I really, really believe in, and one of the things that I stand by, is being able to see people for who they are, not what they are, in the sense that you don't look at people from their color. We talked about colorism. You don't look at people for their tribe. You don't look at people for their job titles, because even people start by questioning what work do you do so that I can know what level of respect I will accord you. You start looking at, I don't look at people for what they are. And I believe that if we see past what people are and we see who people are in terms of kindness, in terms of character, in terms of personality, that's what I feel that I look more into. I will not deny and I will not play an angel to say that I haven't thought of what stereotypes are behind somebody's tribe, or where somebody comes from, whether they're white, they're from Nigeria, whether they're from Kenya, or they're Jaluo, and so on and so forth. It's something that comes into your mind. However, one of the things that is very, very important is to be able to think of the fact that who is this person, not what is this person. So even if they come as Kisi or Ga or whatever they are, see past it. And I love Rebecca's example of how she saw past it, and um, she took her husband, and before she even found out what he was, she already had fallen in love with him. And that's something that I feel like is a very great example to take from tonight for everybody that's watching. See past what people are, or don't even focus, or don't even ask. Just see into who somebody is. If that way, you'll get much further.
Noreen and Becky, this will go and apply alongside, I mean, across the board. The issue to do with blood donation. Have you ever been in need of blood, or any member of your family has been in need of blood? Did it come with a rubber stamped all the way from Kakamega, Isuhaland, or probably from Modo Nyumba? Noreen and then Becky.
We're talking about one family, which is Kenya. And it's until people realize that we belong to one another. Because enyewe, hakuna wakati utaenda maybe to do donations, maybe Kenyatta Hospital, you know, you don't know who wants the blood. You don't know who is in need of that blood. But whatever you do, unasemanga, hii blood ikienda kusaidia mtu, wacha imsaidie apone, you know. And I'm sorry. And this is what we should really be doing. This is what we should really consider doing as Kenyans. Just being there for one another. Because you will help me. You don't know your blood hujui imetoka wapi. And you are there, unasema Wakikuyu wako na damu mbaya, mimi siwataki. When you go to the hospital, unajua hiyo damu imetoka wapi? When I go to the hospital niseme mimi damu ya Wakisii ya kukula watu mimi sitaki, ni mbaya. Really, when I become sick, do I know it is Nyanduko who has donated the blood? Sasa hiyo damu inafikaje kwako inakuwa nzuri and you are in need, alafu like all of a sudden that is what you want and you are like badly in need of that blood. So guys, we are just asking us to be from one family, like we are one people, and whatever comes with us, like wacha wote tujinwane, let us all go to the same direction because we belong to one another. I don't know what Rebecca has to say about this.
Rebecca, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
You have
here.
your. Okay, great.
Yeah, so just like she's saying, I think Kenyans, and especially in Kenya, we unite in crisis. Remember the Dusit situation, remember Westgate. Anytime we've had any crisis, people will come out. They don't even care, what tribe you are from or they are from. They just come and donate blood. I remember during the Dusit attack, we saw a lot of Kenyans just thronging hospitals and Pisha and all those hospitals that were close to Westlands Huko. And they were donating blood. There was a lady, I think, who was giving the police tea, was offering tea to them. There were Indians who were there to help people, and they were giving people blankets and as in we came together, we unite in very hard times. I don't know where the same spirit goes when it comes to uh, our election period. Like I said, I don't like it. I simply don't like it because I always feel like we we either we either have that disunity because of our politicians, uh, or we just choose not to follow the ujamaa spirit that the I think one of us talked about earlier on. Look at Tanzanians. How many tribes? Okay, I keep asking questions. Yeah, they have so many tribes. They must have like more than 100 tribes, by the way. Tanzanians have very many tribes. And we are only how many? 43, 44, Ellie? Imagine. And there are more than 100 tribes. Yet there's something that unites them together, that unifies them. The fact that they are all Tanzanians. And the fact that they've chosen to speak Swahili. And the Ujamaa spirit that Mwalimu Nyerere introduced in that country. So if we had a Mwalimu Nyerere in this country, I think we'd be very far. Because all the time we see our politicians and leaders, because not all politicians are leaders. We see politicians pulling to their side. Wanasema tu, I want my tribe to vote for me. Inasemangwa nini? What are these votes called? The ones that
the blocks zinaitwanga voting in blocks.
Yes, kuna hizo blocks, alafu kuna zile zenye wakati election inakaribia kuisha,
alafu the swing vote.
The swing vote. Bado vote hazijekuja because like strongholds, that's what I wanted to say. Great. Like kuna stronghold ya mtu fulani, so if anything we always think, and you see, unfortunately we look up to these politicians a lot as a country. I mean, truth be said. Yeah. Why? Because they'll dish out money, and of course poverty levels in this country have led to all that. Because the moment you're given some money, you want to pledge your loyalty to this person, sort of. Your loyalty lies with this person. And if these leaders were true leaders, if these politicians were true leaders, and putting that, they would eradicate such things. You eradicate poverty so that people don't have to rely on you. You ensure that people are educated, because also education is very key. It's also one of the education is also one of the very important things, because if people are educated, then they know, like they know who to vote for. They know that they'll vote for good policies, they'll vote for good seras tulisema nini, agendas. They'll vote for good agendas as opposed to tribe. But this one is from my tribe, this one is what. So I mean, if you're donating blood, we definitely just donate without caring like it's gonna go to a Luya or it's gonna go to a Maasai. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I like this musician Ekodida. He keeps saying tribe all. Sisi ni tribe all. And actually we can borrow a leaf from Ekodida and someone like Boniface Mwangi, if I might just mention them. Because I think how they've named their children, Ekodida has named his children, I think Kipitril. There's Kipitril, so that ukiita in short form inakuwa Kip. And then someone like Boniface Mwangi has not given his children Kikuyu names. I think they're called Otieno, I don't know. He's given them Luo names, despite the fact that him and his wife are Kikuyu. Just to dismantle history ya tribalism, like tuachane nayo kabisa. We are just tribe all. Yeah. I need to attend to this Indian English girl. Yeah.
Thank you. When you have parental responsibilities, sometimes things can get out of hand. And we do appreciate the fact that you are making an effort to actually share your experiences. Nyanduko, when you go to hospital, do you ask for Mr. Nyang'au to take care of your needs, or do you just need a doctor who will help you sort your issues at the spot or on the spot? Nyanduko.
Now, is my audio better now? Noreen, can you hear me? Nimeanza kushindwa kuongea because I don't know if you are hearing me or not.
We will try listening, Nyanduko. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Okay, so of course you don't go asking for. If you go finding your daktari wa lugha yenu unaweza kufa. And you get to the hospital, you just need to get help. By the way, Ellie, Kenyans usually unite. We unite when we are fighting against Nigeria or Uganda. Kenyans on Twitter are one. Wakanda forever. But when a Kenyan does something embarrassing, that is when you go down to the nitty-gritties of huyu ni Mkisi, huyu ni Mluya. That is when we go down to, who you are. But when we have crises like Becky said, tunakwanga wamoja. And we usually want people until we get to election year. I also do not like the election year, by the way, because when you get to election year, sasa ndo unaanza kusema mtu wetu, lazima tupeleke mtu wetu to the office. Your neighbor is your neighbor. Someone has said this in the comment. Is your neighbor. Hizi siku zingine zote hujawahi fikiria huyu mtu anaitwa Onyancha. Yani unajua tu ni baba Junior. But that day when people are going to vote is when you remember that Baba Junior kumbe anaitwangwa Onyancha, is when you want to carry a panga and go and kata Baba Junior. It's not fair. We're one people and we should embrace the fact that we are one. At the end of the day, blood gani inatoka hapa nikikatwa hili? It is red blood. Wewe ukikatwa yako inatoka ya nini, ya mahindi? Hapana.
Inatoka kisiagi.
Haiwezi toka ugali, unajua? Yangu haiwezi toka mandizi at the end of the day. Hata kama nazikulanga sana, bado tu at the end of the day we are Kenyans and we have to embrace the Kenyanity, the Africanness, sijui the Africanism in us, the Kenyanism in us. Na tuki-embrace na tukubali kila mtu. Venye Noreen alisema, umedonetiwa blood, umewaijua inatoka wapi? Hiyo damu ni ya James mahali, Msabaot, mahali uko hapo unasema Wasabaot ni wabaya, wako na hasira. Na wewe ndani yako saizi kuna hiyo hasira kidogo. At the end of the day, we are one people. Watu wenye wanakusomea news uko kwa TV, unasemanga sasa sita watch news kwa sababu inasoma leo na Betty Kyalo. Tangoja walete Frederick Muiruri. No,
ama walete Laura Walubengo.
Walete Walubengo ndio nita watch news. At the end of the day we are one. Bado mimi ni mtu, wewe ni mtu. Ukijipata kwa situation yenye wezi wanakutwanga kwa no, my camera is doing me bad. Ukijipata kwa situation yenye watu wanakutwanga kwako Eli, si utaita jirani yako, hautaenda kupigia Waluya wa kwenu. Mimi sitapigia Wakisii wafly wakuje kunisaidia. Unajua? I'll have to call
even though they run supersonic speed, we cannot call them at that hour.
Watu wenye wanakimbia hii Kenya ni wakalebu to establish ya kwamba tuko na talents zetu ni mingi, but this thing about saying night running and witchcraft, every tribe has their witches, by the way. Kila community iko na aspect yao ya uchawi. So when we say sijui ya Wakisii ya wasijui nini, kila watu huku nje they have their people. Why you want to tell me they are not night runners in Western? I said in Chavakali. So I have inside information. Now, before I start a lot of politics here, let me fix my tripod as we continue. Noreen, what do you want to say?
Mimi najua tunakusupport. I had already talked about this. Nilikuwa nimeshaongelea story ya damu mbaya na damu mzuri. Hakuna damu mbaya na damu mzuri. And I don't know. Like looking at, we've already talked about, I'm sorry, I have a very bad cold. We've already talked about marriage before. And you find that there is this guy who will always want to marry a Luya lady because of the hard work they have, of the kind of hard work. On the other end, you go to our sisters in Ukambani. Mbona watu wanapenda kumarry the Kamba ladies? Reason being, wanajulikana kukuwa very good in bed, and also this I know, the Kamba ladies are very 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 hardworking. That I know.
Doreen, I would like to cut you to Dogo and say that there is no one size fits all. There is no ati sijui Waluya ni wa hardworking, Wakisi ni wa because mimi personally as a person, as Nyanduko, I might be the laziest human being you will ever encounter. It does not mean that now that because I'm coming from a certain community, it automatically means that I am this and that. Like, I'm seeing someone in the comment section is asking, ati hii ya Wakisi ya night running, is it true? I am a Kisi. I do not night run, So it does not mean that there's a one shoe fits all. There's no one size fits all. And that's where we come and say that we are Kenyans. I am a Kenyan. So if there is one person who was training somewhere and they established that that person was a Kisi, that was them, And when they established that Waidaho wanapenda chai, Waisuha wanapenda sijui nini, that is it does not mean that the whole clan, now the whole Isuha clan ama the whole Idaho clan now wanapenda ugali ama wanapenda disco matanga, to pick up and then we want to make a one size fits all. There's nothing like a one, ama tunataka kusema Kikuyu wote watakuwa. There are people who have married Kikuyu wives, different tribes, and these women have taken good care of them. Simon Nyachae had a Kikuyu wife. Okay, one of the wives was Kikuyu, and during the funeral, alisema she took good care of him because he took care of her. So when we want to come here and put a one size fits all, it is not true. We are Kenyans. I stopped being. I'm not a night runner, I'm not a witch. I am me. I am Nyanduko. So when you want to come here and ask me about, yes.
That is why I said it is a belief. Hiyo ni kitu watu wameamini, I'll do this and this because this tribe has this something else in store, like it is just a belief. But when you go deep down, kila mtu, we have different personalities. Kuna wale tu watu wenye ni lazy, like unaweza, as much as people say that there are people who are very hardworking. A certain lady from a certain social group, they're hardworking. Kuna tu ile nyanya yenye mooza. Kuna tu yule mtu, and that's what I'm saying. We cannot all be the same. Like kila mtu akona interest zake. Everyone knows what they are running for, what they are running after, and at the end of the day, that is when we realize what we really want and where we really want to go. So whatever you are saying, yes, it's right, but that is just a belief that, okay, watu wanasema hivi because this is what is happening, but in real sense, there are people who are very different. And that is why I said at the beginning, inafikanga point unakuja kuona story na tribe, unapata later on unasema this thing is useless. Can we just be one people? Can we just work together? Can I just find someone else? Like utapata a different group inasema, a different person from a different social group anasema, I prefer working with so and so, I prefer working with Munene because Munene anakuanga very fast, and Munene doesn't come from the same social group with this other Mr. A or Mr. or Mrs. A, so the assumptions too. Yeah.
Great, Noreen. Thank you for that. I think Noreen has some robots talking after us. You will excuse us, ama ni watu wa kwao wametumwa. So, Noreen. Anyway, let's do this. We have 10 minutes to the end of the show. We only have 5 minutes to give our conclusive remarks. But what is the greatest lesson that all of you are learning tonight. And you can send your comments in the comment section. And for everybody that is watching, thank you so much for staying with us. We have so many comments from all of you. We do appreciate. Kipro Roda says we should stop that. Mimi kama Roda niko na hasira zangu na Nyanduko uko na hasira zako. So don't say wakale wako na hasira. Yet mimi ni mkale mkamba. Let's judge individuals. Rather, let's not make the shoe all size to fit everyone, as Nyanduko earlier put it in. Well, this I will not read it so loud because I'll be shouting. I'll let it to be interpreted with whoever is reading. We have Susie Love who says that's pure truth, and I'm loving this that we actually have people that find this information very interesting and they are keeping with us. In case you're watching the cast, kindly do be aware that we will be shifting all and putting everything cumulatively in one page, which is the Arts in Heart. So stay tuned and keep subscribing to the page to enable us serve you even better. We have Sarah Njonjo. Thank you so much for your contributions. And earlier on, we heard from Godwin Segero, who said, Kenyans are not a tribe, but politicians have mastered the art of reminding us of our tribes because of their own selfish interests. Apart from that, Kenyans usually stand for each other. And the other day, I was going through some news item, and I believe Becky, who happens to be in the news production business, she might have come across this. With the BBI, I know this is not supposed to be a political talk, and it's in no way a political talk. It is only a commentary point. We know the Building Bridges initiative and the votings that have been happening here and there. There is one statement that came from a particular leader that took me aback. And this is, I'll paraphrase it. This is what they said. You can rent a Kikuyu, but you cannot buy a Kikuyu. We voted as a bloc. I don't know what is happening there. Somebody's playing traffic lights. Becky,
You were saying?
yes, there is something that happened, and there is this leader that says you cannot buy a Kikuyu. You can only rent a Kikuyu. That was the governor, Kirinyaga County, Anne Waiguru. And Becky, as a news producer and also as a responsible citizen, young person, of course, and of course, a Kenyan, what are your personal remarks about those statements? Oh, Becky, yes, go ahead.
I'm not so sure if I want to really comment on that. But I think they just meant like that you can only rent, you cannot buy their loyalty, you can only rent it for some time because chances are next time they might not really sing to your song. Yeah. But I wish we talked about the BBI initiative. I'm not so sure whether that thing will help us. I don't want to call it a thing, sorry about that, a document. Yeah, I'm not so sure whether, I don't want to cast my doubts, but is this document really going to help us build the bridges that are there?
Interesting question that leaves the viewers to actually be the deciders and the judge, jury, and executioners, because somebody made a very interesting post, and probably you know this young man. I saw in one of his posts called Nick, and Nick said that the only difference you can see in the picture is that the faces remain the same, but the story remains equally the same. Just people shifting camps, the same story. And the only difference in his life is he has had children and probably more broke. So, young people, Nyanduko, can we make a difference moving forward?
I actually believe that we can make a difference because we can embrace the fact that we are Kenyans. Before you are Noreen and you are Likuyani, we are Kenyans, and we stop having a one size fits all. We start judging or dealing with a person as an entity and not as a representation of a community. My community did not send me out here to represent them. The views that that I put out here are entirely mine, and they are by no chance from the entire community that I come from. Some of these people that you judge because of their second name do not even understand, do not even speak their mother tongue. They just have a name, So we should have an idea where we embrace the Kenyanism in us, like we are tribe all. We stop being tribal, like the way Becky said, and the way Kodida says, and we become tribe all. I am for every Kenyan. I am here for, if someone needs help, I help them, not because they are from my tribe, but because they are a Kenyan. So as the younger generation, we can change the narrative. We can intermarry, we can demystify all these myths that are out here about sijui who eats who and nini matanga ya wakina nani na katanga kwenda ushago. We can demystify all those things and and make a different story, make a new narrative, make our story, a story that is ours and not a story that came from 1900, like from which great grandfather. We can make our own narrative, and having someone that is have kisi, have kamba, utamwambia nini hata hata unashindwa kuexplain yeye basi ni nini, because now this person has variety. Akona ukisia, akona ukale kidogo, Fast and Furious. Now it is hard to put this person in one basket, in one cocoon. So we should have an idea where we embrace a person as an individual and as a Kenyan before we want to deal with people as a tribe. Sawa sawa.
Thank you so much, Nyanduko. We are going to actually conclude this cast because we have so many questions that I want us just to make this but the beginning of those questions and possibly seek answers. What stands out is that, and I mean, I stand to be corrected, that there's nothing like tribalism per se. We can have our originalities of who we are, and there's nothing wrong about that. How then we choose to use our ethnic divides to make us different, it's what matters. And the difference must be in a positive way, because we cannot have Kenya if we do not have Kikuyu, if we do not have Aluo, if we do not have Mijikenda, the Swahili, and all those people make up what we call the country and the family that is Kenya. Noreen, your closing remarks before we end this.
Hey, thank you so much, Ellie. One thing that we should remember is, I'll go with what Nyanduko said. Like, I'll try to steal what you said. But one thing we should remind ourselves is, this thing was not born by us. Because before the colonial period, we found that people from Western Kenya and people from Central Kenya had no contact. So because of this, there was no issues of tribalism. There was no issues of who is better than who. We were all one thing. And now when Kenya began to be colonized, tukapata historia ya tribalism. So it literally tells us that it is not our thing. We did not bear it. Like, ililetwa na watu na tuka pick up from there. So the same way pick from them is the same way tutawarudishia and go back to where we belong. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noreen. Let's finish with you, Nyanduko. What do you want to tell us as we close this cast?
There's a hashtag going on in the comment section. I don't know if you've seen it. Hashtag my tribe is Kenya. Hashtag Kenyan forever. And we are a civilized generation. We are not like our forefathers. We are elites. We have gone to school. You work with different people. I work with different people. I get to encounter different people every other day. So assuming that this one person is a representation of an entire tribe is a backward notion that we should desist from, that we should get away from, and embrace the fact that we are Kenyans. Before anything else, before all these other classifications, there's a major classification that we are humans, that we are Kenyans. So when you want to get into this other nitty-gritty, it's maybe if you want to settle with someone or marry them or have a baby with them. But if it is just for purposes of daily interactions and working together, let us embrace the fact that we are Kenyans and that our tribe is Kenya. And that is where we have a national language that is Kiswahili. And mkikutana Waluya wawili na kuna mtu mwingine hapo kando yenu na hamko sure ni what tribe, try and speak in Swahili. Because it will not make you any less of a Luya. It will not make me any less of a Kisi that nimekutana na Mkisi mwenzangu now I want to. So let us embrace the fact that we are Kenyans. Hashtag my tribe is Kenya.
Hashtag my tribe is Kenya. Hashtag arts in heart. Hashtag responding to life. And of course, positively. I
hashtag
wish I could have.
254.
Exactly. That is at Nyanduko254. Follow at Nyanduko254. This is Art in Heart. Of course, we are very happy to bring you this series. It is the discrimination series. We started with colorism and now we're doing tribalism. And next week, you never know, we have something for you. For everybody that is now joining the cast, be sure that there is always something for you and for everybody on Art in Heart. So go to our page, that is the Art in Heart or / Likuyani Eli. Simple way to get there. And of course, follow, like, and turn on the notification button because kuna mambo mazuri every single week. And I have a couple of new shows for you on another page. So follow the advertisements and of course the post. You'll be able to know what I'm talking about. I will like to ask Becky to give her closing remarks before we call this an end. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to bring you Victoria to give her closing remark because of some technical issues surrounding her cast. However, we have Becky who is ready to tell us her closing points. Becky.
I'll keep it very short. It's been exciting, I think, to talk about this, and it's a good thing that we are having this conversation. The best thing and the best place to start is by having these conversations. When we have such, when we speak about the fears that we have over other tribes, I think that's the best way to address them. Like when I was talking about the luo and the fish smell and whatnot, my husband is actually here. So it's when you start talking about them, like, oh, so this is what we fear about luos. So what is it that you don't like about this tribe? Oh, so what is it that you don't like about this tribe? Sometimes you might have fears that don't even exist over the other tribe. That thing that makes you hate that tribe might actually be something that doesn't even exist. So why don't we just behave like God's children? Why don't we behave like Kenyans? And why don't we just be united and not allow people to pull us to their sides based on tribal lines? Because we are all created by God, we are all children of God, and we are all Kenyans. Patriotism is the most important thing that we can keep at this time. And especially Kenyans, we are headed now to that year, 2022. And of course, the referendum, the BBI referendum. It's time for us to be as united as possible. Let's not allow politics to divide us as a country. Let's maintain peace. Let's be preachers of peace. And of course, people in the fourth estate, it's our responsibility as journalists to spread the right information. Let's not propagate strife or make people incitement against each other. Let's use the platforms the platform that we have in the media space to preach peace, to talk about unity as a country. Let's be tribe all. Thank you, Eli.
Thank you so much. That is Rebecca Muiruri Mulure. That is the name that makes her a Mrs. somebody. Becky, I mean, I cannot say thank you enough because you made time out of work and decided to arrive here and takes me back to the good old days. Becky and I, at one time, worked on radio together. We did a show at night, a very interesting station. And I'm happy that you can join Becky Muiruri every single day of the week, if I'm not wrong, on
Every
KTN
Thursday.
Leo. Sorry,
Every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on
every Thursday at
Kyocha Hoja,
7:30 p.m. Kiocha
KTN
Hoja
News.
on
KTN News.
KTN News. This
Yes.
lady is doing wonderful things there, and I'm sure You don't want to miss what she's doing. Yesterday she was talking about the food basket, and you're gonna head there and watch what she presented. Interesting. Nyanduko 254, always a pleasure to have you. You've become the new Mama Africa. I'm loving the regalia you put every time you come on set. Despite the challenges we had tonight, you still look bubbly, and I'm happy to have you as my co-host. Excuse me. One more thing, Noreen, she has disappeared into the thin air, but I hope she can come back before we finish up because time is not on our end. You have been all lovely people. And before I say anything, Noreen, I just want to tell you something. You are a beautiful lady, and I love you so much. And I hope you're going to have many more of these from the very, very best of friends, family, of, should I call them art in heart? Let me see what they're telling me. Somebody has just messed up my system. I'm unable to find the message that your friends were sharing with me. Let me just see what I'm able to do in a short while. So, Noreen, what happened yesterday?
Oh, thank you so much. Wow. Okay,
Well, I'll not
yesterday.
ask you to answer that.
Hello,
Oh,
Noreen. Happy birthday. I wish you all the best. And may God continue blessing you. We love you. Thank you for acting out.
May everything that you touch turn into gold. May God reveal himself to you more and more as you seek him more and more. May everything that you do be highly favored, and may the glory of the current house be better than that of the former house. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Noreen. Happy birthday to you. I love you so much more. May you have many more returns of the day. Mwah.
A very, very happy birthday to you, Noreen. I would have loved to sing for you, but I cannot sing to save my life. So happy birthday, Noreen. Happy birthday because you are an amazing and intelligent, a very eloquent and soft-spoken person. Keep imparting knowledge onto those that need it. And this new age, may it come with everything that you've ever prayed for, everything that you've ever wished for, and everything that you've ever wanted to accomplish. Keep growing, keep being amazing because you are an amazing person. Happy birthday, Noreen.
Happy birthday, Noreen. Kisses from Susie.
Happy birthday, dear Noreen. Happy birthday to you.
What? Happy birthday to you. How old are you? Never mind. Happy birthday. I wish you all the best. I wish you everything good to come your way. You're one of the best. Napenda ugali yako. All the best, Noreen, and happy birthday to you.
Hi Noreen, today you're marking a significant milestone in your journey of life. I join you in celebration and thanksgiving to God for the many blessings this far. I pray that God will walk you through every step of way as this great meaning in your generation. Happy birthday, I love you.
On this special day, someone special was born. And because of that, I say, happy birthday, Noreen. You know, you're the most loving person I've ever met. Even as you turn a year older, may you just grow wiser. May all the desires of your heart come true. And may you receive the best the world can ever offer. I love you. Bye.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Noreen. Noreen, happy birthday to you.
Word of advice, keep safe, take care, and love life.
Have fun, ukule keki, lakini usijali.
Happy birthday, Noreen. All the best. Enjoy life. There's so much to love about life.
Hey, happy birthday, enjoy, have fun.
Happy birthday, Noreen.
age gracefully, and a happy new year.
There will be other competing outside factors that will affect your relationship. Like you have an issue with your partner, the first thing you do, you run to your friends, you run to your sisters, you run to your peers to get advice.
We have weak men out there, and there are men who are weak in all areas. So probably talking to somebody else about your sexual experiences in bed might have been their way of getting the other woman. I don't know. So I will not sit and defend that.
Masculinity is the nature of a man. Do we create nature?
Even as we say that the boy child is under siege, we need to ask ourselves, how have we brought up this boy child that we're talking about? Is it the Kababa generation? As long as it's the Kababa generation, we will always have problems.
Yes, Noreen, happy birthday to you. We love you from Martin Hart. And a lot of kisses and blessings from us as you turn an year older.
Waita.
Have the best. Yes. Maybe I'll
Thank
ask Mama
you.
to say one word for you.
Mama.
Yes, Mama Nyanduko.
Oh.
She's gone off link. Nyanduko? Yes.
Ati mama ya nani?
On
We.
behalf of everybody. When your mama at in heart.
He, mi nimesikia mama nashindwa mama ya nani yako kwa cast. Kama ni mimi ndio
No.
mama. Sawa, my daughter Noreen. You're an amazing person. You are a beautiful soul, and interacting with you on this platform has been nothing but amazing. And I cannot wait for more interactions because you are so intelligent and you're so soft spoken. I cannot say that enough. And you're a beautiful person. You are beautiful inside and out. And a very, very, very happy birthday. I know you thought we were not gonna wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks a lot. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ningekuimbia lakini sijui kuimba. Labda nikuimbie wimbo ya SDA. So utanitafuta DM nikuimbie wimbo ya SDA. In the meantime, you were saying, Mami.
Thank
Great.
you so
So
much.
that was it from us. And of course, you have other wishes from the likes of Shish Winnie James. You have wishes from Sarah Roberts, and you have other wishes from somebody in the US. Of course, I'll send you those clips to you. You can be able to view them. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but it's been great hosting you. It's been great having Becky, Victoria, Nyanduko 254, and Noreen. It's always a pleasure working with this set. And for all the viewers that have been with us from whatever corner you are on earth, we appreciate you. Remember, from next month, we'll be moving into the formal platform, which is the Arts in Heart. So do subscribe, share this link, and most importantly, spread the message, because tribalism in itself is not a problem. The problem is what we choose to do with who we are. Till next time, I've been your host, Likuyani Eli, and as always, subscribe, share, like. Love you guys. God bless you. And in case you didn't know, Nyanduko's best friend is releasing his new title, Simple Love. Take a look and good night.
So every time that I'm by you, I'm gonna make an effort to secure your little insecurities. And every time you spend with me, na kuahidi utajua, utaamini that I'm just a simple man